Hello, welcome
Good
back.
morning.
Good morning. Welcome back to Get Woke. We're back. We're here. It's Friday morning. I'm Nicole here from Santa Cruz, and this is Syntha in Hawaii.
Hi there. Today we're coming to you on the topic of timeouts and self-soothing. But before we start, we're going to begin with a little meditation. So right wherever you are, I invite you just to drop in, feel the support of the chair beneath you. Close your eyes, take a breath. I invite you to let the muscles in the back of your eyes soften. Let your eyeballs just drop back in your skull and let those muscles just support you like little hammocks. We're going to shift the focus from outer to inner. And I invite you from your mind's eye to see your spine grow long like the root of a tree. And let your root be at least as wide as your hips, making its way down through the earth, down through the layers, down till you connect with the fiery magma core. No need worry, your root can sustain. It knows just what to do. Here we're going to drop anything that doesn't serve us, anything from the week, the current times, anything that carries and bothers you. Just for this moment, let it go. It'll always be there if you choose later. But for this moment, we're going to take a breath and we're going to go to your most beautiful spot on the planet. So just take a moment, your most beautiful spot. And if you haven't been there, it can be in your imagination. But just get there, your most beautiful spot. And I invite you when you're there just to land there, taking in the environment. What do you hear? What's the temperature on your body? What do you smell? So here in this most favorite place of yours, I invite you to have a healing experience. We're going to invite in your higher self, your God part, your healer, your whatever you want to call it, an angel, a guide, but one that comes with healing intentions. We're going to invite your person, partner, guide in and ask for healing in the body. I'm going to be silent for a few moments. Just notice. So, doing a scan now in your beautiful place, starting at the top of your head. Your face, relaxing your face, your jaws, your neck and shoulders, down your arms, your chest, your back, your ribs, protecting your organs, your pelvis, your legs, your feet. Seeing yourself bright, healthy. Another few breaths here. And when you're ready, start to make your way back, finding your way back, coming back in through your senses, grounded on your seat, feeling supported. Anything you hear, smells, tastes, and when you're ready, what you see.
Oh,
Welcome
thank you.
back.
Okay, I'm back. That was beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, I've been journeying every other week. I did a quick trip back today. And I've been noticing the healing in the body. And also just with this time, like everything is going on and, just this current state of affairs. And I just feel like, we all have a heightened um, sensibility right now, particularly as I drink my caffeine. So I thought it's a good, all of us, me included, it's a great topic for timeouts and self-soothing. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I haven't seen you in a bit.
No, and in that
You were going to, oh, sorry.
oh,
There's that little delay.
there is, but the Wi-Fi is so good today. I'm reflecting during the meditation on how long it's been and how many shifts there's been in my life, and then even in the Wi-Fi, it's different. It's like everything is different. The connection is clear. And I appreciate that. It's nice, and I'm inside. I've been outside when we've been doing this, so there's
Mhm.
different observations while I'm doing the meditation.
Mhm.
I live alone now, so that's new and different, and it's the first time I've lived alone. So I'm really with that soft quiet of being with the self and how expansive that is and spacious and loving, to have all of that, all of my energy go to me and not tending to things in my environment, because that's what I'm likely to do, to tend to the others. And so living by myself is so different, and even doing that meditation while I'm here in this space feels really different. Yeah. Yeah, so last time we did this, it was like fire season. I mean, it's still fire season, but we're on the tail end of it now. And all that has calmed down, but now we're up in the elections and voting and all of
Mhm.
that. So there is a lot going on in the world.
Yeah. Oh, thanks for saying that. It's so funny how I just stay current with what is. You mentioned the fire season. I'm like, you're right. The fire season. I
Mhm.
was anxious. We were all anxious, and it's part of one thing I want to talk about is like this concept. It's called a window of tolerance by that man, Dan Siegel. It's in trauma, but
Mhm.
it has to do with fight, flight, and then when we freeze too. And lots of different trauma treatments talk, but anyway, it kind of, we've all had that experience where we, you know, we call it freak out, or I call it whiteout now, where it's like,
Mhm.
I can just tell you it feels like this. Right? And I can't, like, I go offline. I can't even, I can hear the words you tell me. I could even tell you what they are, but not that moment, because I'm just being flooded with overwhelming emotion. And at that time, I can't do anything except get out of that situation. So
Mhm.
it's important to know where you are. So if you're in that, if you're in outside your window of tolerance, you got to get into a safe place.
Right.
Right. So, and then once you're in a safer place where you're inside your window of tolerance, then you can self soothe. Right. So, anyway, I was reading, I don't know how I came across that, probably because I'm back doing the work, which actually feels really good. And I guess I was reading trauma articles or something. And I just was thinking back to times in my life when, I've been like more things like we all in psychology, we have these things, we call them psychosocial stressors. And I remember being trained that with enough of those, anybody can break. The top three back in the day were moving, job loss, death of a loved one. And we're all kind of going through death of a, well, anyway, I just will leave it current. So with enough of those stressors, it just like it kind of, it's like what you said. If you are dealing with the things in your environment all the time and you help people for a living, and you're in a relationship, when do you get to be, just you? Like,
Mhm.
so anyway,
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking.
I'm glad you bring that up. And there's the fight, flight, freeze. And when you were teaching me, you taught the cling too. Going to another
Hmm.
in the whiteout moment. And I think that's something I realize how much I do, that I can see now that I'm living by myself. It's like I can cling to myself, but I see how much I do that with others of how are you? How can I be there for you? What's going on? And I lose track of myself.
Yeah,
Mm,
so true.
yeah. Yeah. So coming out of that and orienting to safety, right?
Hmm.
Am I safe now? How do I find that now? How do I soothe? And which right now is a lot about water, as far as I'm concerned, with jumping into bodies of water. It's so healing right now.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I remember reading, like, they use these like hyper arousal or hypo arousal, they called them in this article I was reading, and we can link it below in the comments. Um, but they were talking, which is actually what our body does anyway, like pet an animal or go get in a hot bath,
Mm-hmm.
drink something hot, or
Mm-hmm.
when we need to like stimulate. Anyway, we'll link it below.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely know I have my favorites, but and I know in sometimes in those like periods of time, like after the house burned down, or like during trauma stuff, I had a really bad incident with dogs. I was in the water probably 2 or 3 hours in the morning, like as much water as I could, and just being in the water was so soothing to my nervous system.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for me, it's the hot tea
Hmm.
and the shower because you know, we're lucky to have access to whatever water we have access to. But I have
Yes.
a shower. That's what I got, unless I want to drive, for a long time and do all that. But right here at home, what I have is like the hose when I water the plants and get my feet in there, and just a nice hot shower. So I like that heat.
Yeah. Makes me think about hot springs, why we're all drawn in the magical qualities of hot springs, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and during the meditation, I went to a river that I went on a hike to this weekend. It's cool there, and you're down below
Hmm.
the trails, and there's these walls of ferns and
Hmm.
vines and things, and I just recognize how much that water is important to me right now. Like looking in the river and seeing a surprise crawdad, what's that? And watching them play with each other. And if you sit at that river that I'm thinking of here in the forest for long enough, the dirt settles, because we had walked through the water to get to this little narrow, beach, and you couldn't see through the water, but we sat there for long enough just in conversation, and then all of a sudden it's like we could see everything happening at the bottom. And it was such a hot day, we were so excited to get in the river, but after we got in it and we were sitting there on the beach in the shade, it was like, I can't imagine going in the water. I don't want that now. It worked really quickly.
Right. Well, you mentioned it was cool right there. So maybe that's your animal body was like, oh no, not the water right now in the morning when I'm cool in the Santa Cruz Mountains. Oh, I love that. I love that. That you sometimes that does. I notice that in your journeys, like you'll scan and it'll be something like a recent experience that you've had. It stays kind of present.
It does.
Yeah. My spirit animal, once I moved here to the Big Island, that showed up real regular was Panther, Black Panther. And I've been going to this place off planet and laying on this gigantic granite slab and this like guy I call the Lion King heals my body. And at first I was being very firm. Show me her retreat center. And then when I journey with my friend Raven, she's much more loving. And anyway, she has a different relationship. So I've been incorporating some of her relational qualities into my journey and being sure to offer gratitude and, instead of just being all firm and direct in my mission, showing qualities of kindness and reciprocity as well.
Yeah, I hear receptivity in that too. Thank you for what's here, open to whatever else is here that I'm not seeing right now too. That's nice.
That's right.
Speaking of cool, imagining that big granite slab, it feels so big and grounding and holding and supportive.
Yes. Yes. It takes discipline, however, with my mind. And this goes into self soothing too. It takes awareness and discipline to allow myself to stay on that. Like, otherwise, I'll just be flitting off every which way on every thought with every moment. And we have to develop discipline. That's why I had been like, rah, because that was part of my discernment, like, keep me, like my light. Right. So, but, as we get more skilled, we can still be discerning and bring in gifts of gratitude and reciprocity. Right? It's just like anything, learning the skill of that. And it relates, like this is a little bit more my shamanic stuff, but bringing it over to the therapy world, it still relates in like knowing your mind. So, I'm 54 now and I'm menopausal. So my body gives me hot flashes. If I'm starting to go down a road, it's very obvious. If I'm starting to go, sometimes I'll have a thought in like 3 to 5 seconds later, I'll feel a flash coming on. So I've had to get much more discerning with my own like body to cool down. And I've been trying to trace it backwards. Like, did I trigger that? Or, and it does, I realize that my mind or something is triggering. Then when I go off on these paths of anxiety or just whatever, I have a moment like, I've got to do something about that. So calming the body. So, in saying that, like the awareness first, the awareness of what's my mind doing, what's my body doing. And then breath. I remember breath was big when I was in therapy with my Jungian psychologist going through like childhood stuff. I remember she taught me this, like, put your hand on your diaphragm. And she said, if you breathe from that part of your body, make your hand, it physiologically impossible for the body to hold on to stress while you're breathing from there. So that's like an instant magic hijack. Breathe from your diaphragm, it'll like change everything instantly.
Mm-hmm.
Other instant hijacks are like essential oils,
Mm-hmm.
right? A fuzzy blanket, a cat, like go into those things.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm.
then I used to say that we all have a spectrum, right? Like of healthier to unhealthier
Mm-hmm.
things that we self-soothe with. So just to acknowledge that,
Mm-hmm.
and I try to take the judgment out of it.
Yeah, healthy is such a personal matter. What's healthy for one person or the other person, depending on where they're at with their own cycles of things.
Yes.
Yeah. But it's up to, my own value system. And yes, no judgment, but noticing the self-soothing. Oh, I'm reaching for
Mm-hmm.
self-soothing right now. This isn't that I'm a bad person or I'm lazy or whatever it is, but I'm wanting this right now. It's funny that you mentioned that diaphragm hack.
Mm-hmm.
I was taught the hand on the heart too for
Mm.
oxytocin. Uh, to my understanding, a hand on the heart helps release that oxytocin if you do it for more than 10 seconds. So it has to be probably longer than most people are comfortable sitting there with the hand on the heart. But really, it's stopping to breathe too, and so that's like the timeout that we're talking about today too. Is the timeout to even notice. Okay, I'm self-soothing. What's going on? What do I want? What do I need? What took me off kilter here? Because we will naturally take that time out and dissociate, with maybe things that are more unhealthy for a timeout. Like the body wants it, but it's something to do it on purpose instead of just doing it unconsciously. Okay, do I really want to go for this activity right now? Do I allow it to myself, or is it in charge of me? Mm.
All right. And right now we're focusing on the self, but I'm just reminded that this is an exercise that I give couples all the time. And when I see couples, there's this video, we'll link it below. It's called an amygdala hijack. This guy's really dramatic, and that's why I like him. And he's like, "You can't kill the bill." Anyway, uh, what I like about it is that he throws out some science. He says something like, okay, so that thing I told you about when I white out, that's what they call the amygdala hijack. So when you have that, you have to time out for 45 minutes to 3 hours for all that adrenaline and all those like cortisols and all that to like dissipate from your system.
Mm-hmm.
45 minutes to 3 hours. That's huge. So when people are in this back and forth, there's just not a way. You're just going like the rat on the wheel. You might as well just stop. And right. And then tomorrow or the next day, or strike when the iron is cold. You come back when you're not activated about it. And as soon as you feel activation, if you like, I have, oh gosh, it comes up. I just share when it comes up. So I used to have a problem with rage and anger, and you can ask my former husband. So now for me, like the first time, it's like, I started numbering it. So the first time is like a 3. We're going back and forth. And then if like it gets, the next time might be a 5. Well, I got to time myself out after that, because if I'm not able to, the next time anything over a 7 might be like what I call the whiteout zone. So I have learned like just not to go there. It's not worth it. I don't enjoy fussing. Once I feel that first activation, I know I already got those stress chemicals running in my system, a second shot of them. And I'm telling you, I'm a trained person, and only 3 or 5 years ago or less, if I
Mm-hmm.
go walking with a dog off leash, I mean, if I go walking with the dog and another dog comes off leash, I can feel it still.
Mm-hmm.
I can stay within my window if it's not my dog and I'm not walking the dog. But if it's my dog, I'm outside my window.
Mm.
So that's why I don't have a dog right now. That like so oh, it makes me sad. But it's all these things are like self-knowledge, right? And I am choosing like to heal my nervous system more than I'm choosing to bring in an animal to soothe it
Mm.
in that thing. Anyway, I've been watching those dodo videos like crazy.
What?
You know what I'm talking about? Rescuing all these rescuing animals of cats and dogs. Anyway, I
Mhm.
feel like I bought cat food yesterday.
Just
Yeah.
taking all that in. There's a visualization I use with myself to help track that. It was just the thermometer, right? 'Cause I like
Mm-hmm.
to put it to the visual, but am I at the 1 tick? Am I at the 5? And seeing that red line going up, it's like, whew, I can communicate to myself. I'm holding tension about this without,
Mm-hmm.
qualifying is it justified or not, but I have tension. That's true. And the rest, I can figure out the story of. But what I need to know right now is how escalated am I, and at what point do I need to pull out? And so it's useful to have that tracker of 45 to 3 hours, 45 minutes to 3 hours to know, and not have to do that communication with myself of how long do I need to sit out for, but at least 45 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
That's reminding me when I was in different kind of frames and running away and even in partnerships. So when this would happen, at that time I would probably definitely wanted to like stay in there and work it out. I didn't have my own skill set. And so if you're in a partnership and the timeout, sometimes it is appropriate to check back. I used to give that as guidance. Check back a text, send an email after 1 hour. Hey, just letting you know I'm okay. I'll check, and then give your state. You know, we can talk about it I'm coming back home, but I want to talk about it till tomorrow. Whatever. Just like give an update in an hour so that it can help. Like oftentimes one partner will go through the whole abandonment thing. And anyway, there's a whole caretaking. I'm with you. I'm just grateful I'm single. I'll tell you, it's much easier to live life living by yourself and single because you don't have as much impact.
Sometimes it is.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. It
But
take a
uh,
lot of
yeah.
the relational muscle to be in it and to offer the surrender, right? Or I'm gonna be mindful of your feelings and your needs too, and not just be relating with myself. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, so you can see, I just think like going back to why we said learn how to manage your consciousness. You can see like getting to know this, like becoming aware of your thought process about what's causing you to be, like I remember one time when I was married, my husband and I had watched some violent movie, Charlie's Angels specifically, and we came out and I was mean and we didn't do any, like just having that much intensity coming at me and all that
Mm-hmm.
violence and stuff, it impacted me. So anyway, I'm just saying that because, like I live without TV, I limit my media, and those things also impact your nervous body.
Oh, it's something I know about myself, as a highly sensitive person, right? I just don't watch violent shows or movies. I just, it's not a genre for me, which is a challenge with friends sometimes, but I just don't do violent media.
Mm-hmm.
It gets to me way too much. I mean, mirror neurons are real, and watching it, lights up memories and all kinds of things. And I'm not calling that in right now. It's not something I'm wanting to process or work with. There's other things I want
Mm-mm.
to focus on.
That's right. No, I almost like feel the feelings of whether it's real or not, whether it's TV or not. Like all my life, I've been like that. I remember like having to learn how to self-soothe as a little kid, being like, "It's only TV. It's make believe. It's not real. It's a movie." Right.
Mhm.
So just knowing these things, and for the parents, knowing these things about your kids, like what you're exposing them to is impactful.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I hear we're on this topic, I hear an airplane above. If that were a helicopter instead of an airplane, that would set my, that would put me at like a 3, just a helicopter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Just to the presence and the sound of it.
And that's from the fires.
I think
Yeah.
that's so uh, useful to be aware of. I had that reaction. I mean, walking through the forest here, even in this backyard here, there's ash on the plants still. You can see it in the spider webs and all that. Me saying that probably ticks you up a little bit too, so I'm aware. But it's just to say it ticks me up, right? Seeing it, it's like there's this reminder of like, this is the world that we're in, and there hasn't even been that cycle come through to wash it through yet. I'm still in it. As much as my own dissociation wants to pull me out, like it's done, we're fine. It is still here. And I'm reminded of it, but it's not as active as it was. I think last time when we did these videos, I was probably up more at like a 5, 6, 7, with all of it going on. And now, I can talk about that and keep it a 1 or a 2. Like it's activating, but I'm managed. And so
Yeah.
being that way, last time was like, oh, okay. I felt the aversion to showing up because it's like I just really need to manage myself right now, which means just really low key, low input, low pressure. Not it's sweet to be in conversation with you, so that's not pressure, but just managing myself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm glad you're feeling better. I know I went through it. I had I had my last car in California shipped over here during that time because I was so anxious, and I wasn't expecting that when it arrived, it brought up all the feelings. It's the car I left the fire in, and it brought up this whole refugee status for me because it's what I like. I'm like, oh, I need to pack it up for camping and take a road trip. And I even tried that here because it felt like what I needed to do. But I realized, no, I like being home. This is the first year, 2020, that I've slept in the same bed, other than that one night I went on the road trip, all year. I haven't slept in the same bed, and I can't tell you when, in probably my entire life.
Right.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. What's it
I
like?
know. I like my bed. I love my home.
Mhm. It's so
I,
sweet. I can feel it. I like hearing you say, I like being home. I've been here.
it was a beautiful remembrance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Now, actually, if I'm thinking about it, when I was on the road, yeah, I might have slept in my bed every night, but probably not because anyway, it doesn't matter. But yeah,
Because it's helpful to track these things. It's
it
curious.
is. Yeah, it is. And I'm saying no, it wasn't. I know. I know. Usually I fly. This is the first year I haven't traveled. Gone on an airplane and a lot of my adult life. So anyway, it's the first, I've probably only had 5 hugs this year. I can almost tell you each person. They're almost all Harbin sisters.
Mm.
Yeah.
I
And
do
just,
a lot of
yeah.
the self hug, hand behind my ear, hand under the shoulder, and
Oh.
breathing. It's so sweet. Like it feels silly to do it right now, but it's not.
No, I'm going to try this. Oh, it is nice. It's very intimate when you do that, isn't it?
It's yes, it can get a little sensual. It's nice.
Oh.
Like my fingers are cupped back on the back of my neck. The thumb
Mm-hmm.
right behind my ear, kind of crooked in there. That's nice. When I'm hugging someone else, I feel them hugging me and I'm caught up in that. But when I'm doing this, it's like, oh, this is what it's like when I hug. This is me hugging. Mm-hmm. And switch it over to the other side too.
Mm.
Mm. Yeah.
Mm.
It's
This
my
is my favorite side.
Yeah, we go good side.
Yeah.
Some, that makes sense to me to have a favorite side. It's also a quiet year for me because usually, we talked about it a little bit before, but usually I'm organizing and talking to so many people from Burning Man, just managing that. And so I have, 50 campers in my psyche that I'm holding and thinking about and managing all kinds of logistics with them. And so this year, there's none of that. It's connection by choice. It's not I'm doing all the
Mm,
admin stuff. It's just, oh, how you doing? Should we try to connect? And there's not this like rigidity to it. And so I'm living alone and I'm not managing all of this in the same way. I'm managing work. So I have all those psyches in with me that I try to,
mhm,
protect myself with.
mhm,
But it's so different. This year is just so different, I think, just for everybody. But I'm really appreciating it. It's a lot of like you're talking about with that discipline of
mhm,
staying on track. Because
mhm,
being so different, it is dysregulating. Of like, just constantly scanning for am I okay? What's happening? When everything is out of schedule. But there's a lot of it that I'm really enjoying.
very good.
Yeah.
I
So
feel complete today. I don't have a lot more. Do you have much more? We're gonna send these things about window of tolerance dance to give. I've got a couple links to send.
great. Yeah. Yep, that sounds good. So, anybody that's here listening, watching, thank you so much for being with us. We'd love to hear any comments or questions or anything you have to say. So feel free to write in. If you liked this, go ahead and tell the YouTube that you liked it, and you can click that like button. But we're here, and we're looking forward to seeing you next time.
Bye.
Bye.